Part 2 of the Bedrogfontein 4x4 route covers the fairly easy section from the 5th to the 13th kilometer. If you intend driving this route, it's important to watch the overview and orientation video as well as Part 1, which contains the Google Earth orientation clips as well as other important safety, tourism and historical information. The road is well maintained up till the turnoff to the Mvubu campsite, and seasoned off-road drivers might well wonder why this is designated as a 4x4 route. But things change drastically after the turnoff to the Kaboga cottage, where you'll need to drive precisely and the low-range capability of your vehicle will be put to good use. Going back in history to the Anglo-Boer War, the famous Battle of Bedrogfontein took place between the Boer and British troops in this area. Jan Smuts and his commando travelled from the north, near where the Addo main camp is today, and Smuts only had 250 men and had to take on 2,000 English troops. Despite this, the Boers ambushed the British, and not a single Boer died in the battle, but it's believed that about 700 horses met their fate here. The old farmers talk about the terrible smell in the kloof. For about a month no one could enter the place. Traces of the battle can still be seen today, but it's better if a guide can show you around. There's an old red brick ruin still visible, which served as a shelter while the Boers camped and had braais underneath the surrounding milkwood trees. The story behind Bedrogfontein's name is just as fascinating. There's a fountain in the area, but it's quite difficult to find. You can use the two constructed cement dams along the way as a guide. Just after the dams you'll find a small valley. It looks bone dry, but if you walk about 50 meters you will find the stream. From there the stream runs underground, leaving no trace anywhere else in the area. The vegetation type that can be seen in this part of the video is called subtropical thicket. It consists of closed shrubland to low forest. It's often almost impenetrable, is generally not divided into strata, and has little herbaceous cover. It was formerly classified as a type of savanna, but has since been classified as a separate biome. A large diversity of animals is associated with a rich plant diversity. The subtropical thicket contains 112 different vegetation types and comprised of 1,558 plant species. 20% of these are endemic and found nowhere else. It covers an area of 48,000 square kilometers, stretching from Riversdale in the Western Cape to the Kai River in the Eastern Cape. Little is known about the insect species associated with subtropical thicket, but for every one plant species there are between 8 and 35 organisms dependent on the species. The subtropical thicket biome faces extreme threat from overgrazing, bush clearing for agriculture, and inadequate representation in the reserves. Amongst the best examples are speckboom, where trees grow up to 4 meters tall when not browsed by elephants. Other examples to look out for are the needlebush, plumbago and the Cape honeysuckle. The natural and cultural heritage of the park has been studied by the Albany Museum, recording hundreds of sites of significance. The earliest signs of habitation in the park go back 125,000 to 30,000 years ago, where scatters of Middle Stone Age tools are reported along the Sundays River Valley and also inland at Addo Heights and Korans Vlakte. The later Stone Age people were ancestral to the Sand Bushmen and the Kukun or Hottentot people who lived in southern Africa between 30,000 and 1,000 years ago. In South Africa, these small hunter-gatherer groups lived at the coast, where they exploited the marine resources such as shellfish, fish, seals and seabirds. Inland groups frequently lived in caves and rock shelters, and there are many sites in the Zuurberg mountain which testify to this. There are also rock paintings in some of these caves. Excavations were carried out at Melkootboom and Vegeboom, and these uncovered graves with rich grave goods indicating a complex belief system. Keep left here if you're heading for the Mvubu camp, otherwise keep right to stay on the 4x4 trail. The majority of the hunter-gatherer groups had been pushed out of the Seaberg mountain range by the 1820s and were forced to move further inland to escape European settlement on their lands. They were absorbed into the colonial lifestyle of the 18th century, becoming farm workers for the Dutch and British, or clients of the Xhosa, where they were engaged in elephant hunting. Be sure to watch part 3 of the Bedrogfontein 4x4 trail, where the more technical part of the route begins.